you doing?
I'm doing well. I've had
Welcome
my
to.
coffee and
Oh,
looking forward to my breakfast.
that's all you need, right?
Yeah, absolutely, exactly.
Welcome to Let's Rock. I don't know, you've probably never heard of us before.
I've heard the expression.
I, it is quite a popular expression, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I'll just let you know what I do. I'm these days I'm really focusing on Canadian music. So I'm doing a lot of interviews with Canadian musicians and just getting their take on the music industry and life as a musician in Canada as opposed to the States. So that's what I'm doing. And you're joining a long list of some pretty cool musicians, actually. Kim Mitchell's been here, Gowan's been here, Sass. I'm sure you know all these people. You've been playing
Yep.
around town with them.
I
Uh,
know them all.
we have some good
Uh,
music in this country, don't we?
Indeed, I think Canada punches above its weight musically, no question.
Especially when you guys started.
Yeah. So yeah, we've kind of seen it all, right? I mean, like there was barely a Canadian music industry. I mean, just 5, 10 years before we started, it really you had to move to the United States in order to be a musician where you're signed to a record company and you have distribution and someone's promoting you at radio. But about the time we started as a band is when the whole thing really started in Canada.
That was about what, 84 or so?
Well, yeah, so right. I mean, we started playing in the Vancouver music scene in 1981. But we were kind of an underground band, right? And then 84, we did our first full length record, Set the Fire, um, distributed through, physical small distributors throughout the United States, uh, and getting played on college radio. And then in 1986, we signed with Warner Brothers in the US. And yeah, that's that's it right there.
That's a pretty good year for rock and roll, Canadian rock and roll, when you think about it. I mean, that was 84. I'm just going by memory here, but I think that was Bryan Adams. Reckless was that year.
Yeah, I think it could be. Yeah.
Rush did Grace Under Pressure maybe in 84. Holy, that was a good year. So what happened in the States? Did you make it in the States?
Yeah, so yes and no. Uh, it's a long, complicated story, but I will give you a thumbnail sketch.
Perfect.
Um, yeah, in '85, we recorded the Green record on our own, which had Baby Ran and I Go Blind and others. And we'd been making records on our own and releasing them on our own independently. And we said, let's just get somebody else to do this for us because it's not what we want to do. We want to make music and play. And so we'd always been touring up and down the West Coast, and we were getting interest from record companies. And in late '85, Warner Brothers said we'd like to sign you. And in '86, we signed a essentially more or less like kind of a 2 record deal kind of thing, two guaranteed, and then options after that. And we just as we were about to release our record in June of '86, there was a big payola scandal. I don't know if you remember that. It's documented in the book called The Hitmen,
I've heard about it.
and it was yeah, it was there was a TV expose like it was 48 hours or it was like a 60 minutes kind of thing, but not 60 minutes on it. And anyway, we had just released a Baby Ran as our first single, and we were getting play on MTV. And what happened is because with the payola thing is record companies. I'm giving you a little bit of a music history lesson.
Perfect.
Um, okay, for your listeners, um, record companies used to promote their records uh, themselves to radio stations, and then radio stations, realizing the power that they had, decided that they wanted some more than what record companies could do legally to get their records played. So, to create an arm's length uh, relationship, they hired what was called independent promotions, or IPR, they called it quite often, or independent radio promotion, IRP. And so these independent radio promoters would do what it took to get your song on the radio, right? So they're dealing with music directors and program directors at radio stations. This is not so much in Canada. I mean, we're kind of, Boy Scouts compared to some of these American uh, record company, independent radio promoters and radio stations, but prevalent in the United States. And so this involved anything from cash payments, kind of in brown paper bags, to drugs, to access to people, or whatever it was, right? And so when this thing became public, and this is not the first time it happened in the 50s with Alan Freed, who's of course now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't people know that story either, but I digress. So we'll go back to the original thing. So what happened is, we're just releasing the record, Baby Ram is going to be introduced to radio, and playlists freeze, right? And independent radio promotion is out. It doesn't exist anymore because there's federal investigations and the FBI is on them and all that kind of stuff. And record companies have no way to promote their records, or their songs, their singles at radio. So they have to set up in-house radio promotion, but it takes months and months and months to do that. And by that time, kind of our record's kind of old hat, and then they, don't want to release singles anymore, and let's get the next record going, and blah 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 blah. So it was a bit of bad luck for us with the release of the Green record and Baby Ram and I Go Blind. In fact, I Go Blind was never even released as a single in the United States, and we never got that far. And so we went to work on the next record, Show Me, which had One Day in Your Life and One Gun on it. And we released that, and that got some radio play. And we also released it in other markets, in the UK and Sweden, et cetera, et cetera. So, and also that was where we sort of had our first radio hit in Canada with One Day in Your Life. It was okay. And then we did one more record with Warner Brothers, Fight for Love, which had Miss You and Baby Have Some Faith. And then Warner Brothers and 5440 parted ways amicably. And we went on to sign with CBS, which was Sony Music Canada, and released several records with them. So that's kind of the thumbnail sketch of the history of the band and record companies and discography.
It's pretty impressive, actually. When I was, I was listening to Spotify yesterday. I'm sorry about that. I don't like listening to Spotify. Did you get my penny? Anyway, it amazed me that, I mean, I've always been a fan since I was a kid. I've loved 5440, but sometimes you kind of forget about the catalog you have. And I was listening to a greatest hits on Spotify. Wow, you guys had a serious run of, I mean, if somebody went to your concert not knowing or not having any of your albums, they would probably know 90% of the songs.
So that we get that comment all the time. I had no idea you did that song. That it's slow, and it's our songs are ahead of the band, and that's okay. We lead with the songs. Like you say, we did have a good run. We had I don't know, 14, 15, 16 kind of major radio hits. So yeah, I mean that's okay. And all the stuff that I mentioned earlier, like that's a double-edged sword, right? I mean, just because you have some bad luck or things don't go as well commercially as you would like them to, doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing in the long run. I mean, we've become quite philosophical about this stuff, and we have uh, some in the band that are interested in Eastern philosophy, and the Confucianism and the yin and the yang. And if you look at it, what is good can be bad, and what is bad can be good. You know, um, it's we are where we are, and we're very happy where we are, and we got here the way we did, and so therefore it doesn't do any good sort of lamenting things that didn't go our way in the past. We've had a lot of good breaks as well, so it all kind of works out in the end.
Oh, it's a fantastic career.
Yeah, thank you, thanks,
Yeah,
Ken.
I mean it's excellent, but it does lead to the question. I asked this to Larry Gowan when I was talking to him a few weeks ago. You get to the point where you've done 14 albums. I think I counted 14 plus an EP. Is that right? I think.
Yeah, so it depends on what you count, right? There's greatest hits packages, there's live records, there's compilations, there's so you're in the ballpark 14, 15 kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. And you do, like you said, you do have 15 or 16 pretty solid hits. How do you choose a set list when you make a new album? And especially these days when everybody knows your set list because they can all find it, how do you keep it fresh?
Yeah, so there's a we play uh there's 9 or 10 or 11 songs that we feel we have to play depending on the length of the set. So you can't play every hit. And we want to play some new stuff, and quite often we like to bring back kind of deep tracks, older songs that mean something to us or to hardcore fans, and play those as well. So this is the kind of stuff we talk about all the time, what you've just brought up, right? And everyone has their 2 cents worth on this. But then what happens is Dave Genn, our brand new guitar player, who's only been with us now 21 years, he writes the set list, and that's the one we play. So, and he takes into consideration, the kind of stuff that we're talking about. As you want to play songs that people came to hear, but you also want to offer something else as well.
So the show in Ottawa, I'm in Ottawa, by the way.
Yep.
The show in Ottawa on Friday night, nine,
Yes.
10 hits, bunch of uh bunch
Yeah.
of what's
So we'll be able to play a full set there, and it's going to be, well, I can't tell you, right? Can't, because then I'd have to kill you, right?
well, no, but I'll find out probably before. Right?
No.
I'll get list.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna definitely play 10 songs that everybody knows. There's some little interpretations that we do of some of these songs that evolve, those little breakdowns and stuff, and that make it interesting for us and for our fans. But we're going to play those 10 songs, and we're going to probably play, we'll play at least one, if not two, new songs, and then probably one that our super fans will want us to play.
Okay. That's gonna be
Give
great.
or give or take. Don't hold me to this,
Of
because I
course.
don't write the set list. I
Of
just
course.
read it and then I play it. So
It is tough though, isn't it, to I mean, I remember back in the day when I would go see shows and you have no idea what's going on. You don't know what the first song is. It was so exciting. Now it's just kind of okay, so they open with this and they're going into this. We know the set list by heart.
yeah,
Do you vary it every
yeah.
night?
So almost. There's subtle variations. Yeah. Um, well, there can be big variations for the first 6, 7, 8 songs, and then the back end of the set, we have a way of sort of building to. Um, yeah, we just we hit. There's like a dynamic, a crescendo that we hit sort of within the set that we try to achieve. So we have a way that we do that, right? So yeah, we definitely mix it up, and like this, there's probably, I don't know, six different songs that we start with. Lately, we've been starting with a brand new song, right? So we might do that, which is kind of interesting. And there's five other songs that we are capable of starting with that we'd like to start with as well. So that's different. And then yeah, we like to mix it up a little. Yeah.
Yeah. 21 years, eh? The new guy.
Yeah, 21 years the new guy. Yeah.
He's kind of like the Ronnie Wood of 5440.
He's like the Ronnie Wood of 54. I'm going to tell him he said that. That's
Oh, wow.
exactly right. Yeah.
Well, Ronnie Wood's been in the band for 50 years and he's still the new guy.
Yeah. Oh, no question. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, he had to replace Mick Taylor, and that was no easy feat.
No kidding.
Yeah. And yeah, no, and Ron Wood, I mean, he was a guy about town, right? I mean, he played in the Faces. He played with played bass in Jeff Beck's band.
Right.
I think he co-wrote Maggie May with Rod Stewart. He's a songwriter, and everybody loved him, and that's why he got the gig. And having met him and hung out with him for an evening, I can tell you he's a gentleman and he's a lot of fun.
That would be a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, it was indeed. Yeah, we opened up for the Rolling Stones at the Saddle Dome in Calgary in 2005, and we had a show in Banff the week before because we were kind of just doing a little Western Canada tour. That ended with opening up for the Rolling Stones at the Saddle Dome. But we're in Banff the week before, and the Rolling Stones had just completed their Eastern Seaboard portion of their tour, and then they flew to Calgary, and they're hanging out in Banff, just kind of recharging before they start the Western swing of their tour. And Ron Wood came down and saw us play at a club called Wild Bill's with his entourage and bodyguards, and then came backstage and it was great. It was he is a they're all great. The whole band is fabulous. They're great people. And then he invited us out for drinks, and we went to this club and kind of got a big booth in the corner, and it's our whole band is there, and Ronnie Wood and one bodyguard and a bunch of bodyguards from the perimeter, and spent a night, having a few cocktails with him. And then we did the show a week later at the Saddle Dome and met Keith. He took us to Keith's dressing room and we hung out with him for a while. And Blondie Chaplin was there. And I had a nice chat with Keith. And then we got our picture taken with them between our set and the Rolling Stones set. And Mick comes kind of bounding in and shakes everybody's hand and asks some questions about us. And they're just, they're iconic. I mean, it was a thrill for us, but they're real gentlemen and they're just really gracious people. And it was a real lesson actually learning that. And yeah, I reflect on it quite often.
I can imagine. And it would be a good lesson in how to run a business, right? Those guys are,
Yeah.
they're pretty much the best going.
Yeah. No, there's no question about it. I totally agree.
Now, getting back to the Canadian thing, one thing I've learned from all these interviews I've done with these people is how tight the rock community is in Canada. It seems like everybody knows each other, everybody's played with each other, everybody's a fan of each other. Um, just as a small example, the place you're playing on Friday night in Ottawa, a couple months ago, I saw Kim Mitchell play there.
Oh
And
yeah.
his keyboard player is the old keyboard player from Honeymoon Suite.
Right.
Everyone kind of passes around when they're done with one thing, they go to another, and they're all tight. Is that true?
Yeah, I think to a great extent it is. I mean, there's a bit of regionalism for sure, but we've played with Kim several times, and I guess it started actually in the late 1980s. We did a New Year's Eve show with him in Vancouver, but probably played 10 or 12 times with him since, various festivals and stuff like that. And I've hung out with him at you know, over a clubhouse sandwich at the hotel. And he is a funny guy. And also Larry Gowan is also a super funny guy too.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Um, he's hilarious, hilarious. And Kim's a delight and a great player, and another sort of, Canadian rock icon. Yeah, I think there's certainly an affinity that we have with each other, and we realize, because we've all done the same thing, right? We've all hopped in the van and driven across the country. I don't care. I mean, Rush did it, right? They did it for several years before they started to get some traction, and there's an affinity you have because there's this understanding of what it takes to do what we do. So you're very happy to get together with your fellow Canadian rockers and have a laugh.
Everyone I've talked to is just a fantastic human being. That's the thing I like more about them. I mean, I consider Kim Mitchell in my top 5 guitar players of all time, not just Canadian, in the world.
Incredible. Incredible.
But talking to him, you get a newfound respect for him because he's such a nice guy. Same with Gowan, right? Great guy. Yeah. It's awesome. I'm going to do a couple rapid fire questions. It's hard to define 5440 sound. How would you categorize your sound?
We are a pop rock combo.
Pop rock combo. Good to know. Okay. Song you wish you had written?
In My Life.
Beatles?
Lennon McCartney, yeah.
Nice. Best Neil Osborne performance?
Oh, geez. So we played on a bill. We were in between. The Georgia Satellites were first. We were second. And 10,000 Maniacs was third. We played the Ritz Ballroom, I think it's called, in New York City. This would be late 80s. And Neil was just absolutely on fire. As my friends who drove down from Ottawa to see the show, he goes, that was a playoff performance.
Nice. Bring the hockey into it for sure.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
All right, here's a tough one. You hung out with the Stones. Your song you wish you had written is a Beatles song, Beatles or Stones?
Yeah, so it was always Beatles. And then, it's gradually shifting. I'll leave it like that.
All right. Best city in Canada to play, keeping in mind you're playing Ottawa on Friday.
Oh, Ottawa.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That's a really good answer. Song that you have the most trouble playing live?
Well, it's a new one. It's a new song.
Bass line or the timing or the
Oh, it's a long, complicated answer, but yeah, it's a song that's meant to be played sitting down, and I have to play it standing up.
these days, no one would get mad at you if you sat down for a song.
Well, and what it comes down to, I mean, so it's just like I come from punk rock, right? So I wear my guitar low, which involves kind of a bend at the wrist that you don't have to do if it's up high or if you're sitting playing in the studio. So, but that being said, I get through it and I enjoy it and I like the challenge.
That's the way to do it. What kind of bass are you playing?
Fender Jazz.
Nice. The only one you should play, I think.
Well, and I've got a bunch of them. And this one I play, we'll see. This one it's a Japanese reissue. And I bought it at Steve's Music in Toronto after everything out of our truck was stolen at the courtyard, by Marriott parking lot out of the back of the truck. And then I replaced the pickups in it. And it's a 1975 reissue from like the mid 1990s. And It's great. I love it. But I also have several originals as well. I got a 74 that I play a lot, and also I've got a 66, which I use either for Vancouver shows or in the studio.
Nice. Fingers or pick?
Yeah, both. So,
Oh,
I mean, obviously, coming from punk rock, it's like a lot of hammering with a pick, and I kind of say I like playing with the fingers better. So,
the only problem with finger playing is that you can't throw picks into the crowd, and it looks cool when you throw picks in the crowd.
yeah, so I generally toss one at the end of the show discreetly. I'm not a pick firer.
But it's always fun. The last
Well,
question.
rock and roll will never die.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I,
How can
just
it?
because we're a minor subculture right now in you know where music is right now, where popular music is, where it used to be kind of the mainstay. And I'm okay with that. If the people who come to rock shows, they're there because they want rock shows.
But also remember that in the late 70s, when it was disco, Van Halen came out and kind of brought rock back. So it's going to come back at some point, I think.
Yeah. Uh, hopefully. I
Well,
mean, I think I love it. Like, I would say rock music, all rock music, like new, old, um, I like particular types of rock music more than others. Uh, but, riffy guitar stuff, right? Which is, like what the Stones excel at, all that stuff that Keith Richards came up with as alternate tunings and five strings. And, like I think it's just absolutely fantastic. I love it. That, and I like really old, kind of rhythm and blues stuff, right? From the late 40s to like the mid 70s, and stuff. There's a whole renaissance of that right now too. With like Leon Bridges and people like that, and like I love that too.
nice. One more question, and then I'll let you go.
Okay.
In just a couple words, what can fans in Ottawa expect at the show I should mention where it is, the Rideau Carleton Raceway.
Yes. Okay. What they can expect? They can expect uh, an old song, a new song, and 14 Canadian rock radio hits.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
I like it. I mean, like as I said earlier, I think this is the kind of stuff that consumes us in our conversations. Um, kind of what kind of presentation we want to make, and I just think that every time we get together as a band and then we play in front of people, I consider it a celebration of, I think you called it, a great career, and an appreciation for these songs, an appreciation for all the people that showed up to see us. And yeah, it's a community that we set up because we're all in it together. And so whatever songs we play, I'm bound and determined to have a good time, and I always do.
That's the way to do it. You ever get bored of playing certain songs that you've played since day one?
Uh, no.
Good.
Like
Good.
it's yeah, no. The answer is no. I mean, I had to think about it for a minute, and I was thinking of like "Baby Ran," which is probably the oldest song that we play, 1986, or "I Go Blind," and I'm going, oh yeah, no, I'll play those every day I have to and enjoy it. And like I say, it's all part of the celebration.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I'm going to be there on Friday. Um, and believe it or not, having been a fan since I was a teenager, this is the first time I'll ever see you guys.
Okay, I think you're going to have a good time, and I know I will.
I guarantee I will. And it's a great little venue, by the way. It's a really nice place to play.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
look forward to it.
So we'll see you guys on Friday. Best of luck. And
Thank you.
thanks for this. I really appreciate it. It's very informative stuff. A history of rock and roll.
Yeah, Ken. Yeah. There was a bit of a. I did do that. So there you go. A little slice of that. And yeah, Ken, it's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it as well.
Absolutely great. Thanks so much.
Okay, thanks, Ken.
All right, take care. See you
See
Friday.
ya. You bet. Bye bye.